a percentage is only about $25.
Right.
Like that's not going to be the issue.
Yeah.
It's when you start being vacant for 30 days, if your place is $2,100 a month, that's like $70 a day.
Yep. It adds up quick.
It adds up really quick.
Yeah. So 9% flat fee.
Yep.
You only have the lease fee if you get somebody in within 21 days. Yep. Are you guys handling everything? Are you sending reports on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis? Are you sending tax forms at the end of the year for the CPA? Like, what kind of stuff are you doing on the back end?
Everything. So you, when your property is being leased, we send out weekly reports of how many showings, how many people clicked on it, all that data, and then we kind of send a market analysis like, hey, why isn't this rented yet, right?
All right, I've got Kyle with Keyrenter Boise here today. Kyle, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming.
I appreciate you having me.
So I'd love to start by just getting to know a little bit about Kyle, who you are, kind of your background, where you come from, a little bit about your family. Give us a high-level overview.
For sure. I came from a background in manufacturing. I worked in that industry for 20 years and just doing sales, and everybody who I had come across who owned machine shops, things like that, had owned real estate. And so I kind of got into real estate when I was in my early 20s, and I always knew I kind of wanted to be in that space at some point. I didn't know to what extent, because I don't think anybody necessarily wants to be in property management when they're a kid. Like, oh, astronaut, veterinarian, property manager.
Yeah.
Like, that's never happened, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So, that was kind of just the beginning. And then, company got purchased by a bigger corporation, and I was getting ready. I wanted to get out of California, to be honest. I have young kids. I have 4 kids and my wife, and we wanted to move to a place that was better to raise a family, And we came to visit in 2019 and didn't look back. Yeah. We realized that this was like the place they wanted to be.
Did you make the move in 2019?
We actually made the move in 2020. Because my wife was pregnant, and we do home births, and so she wanted to have like our midwife there.
Yep.
And then we kind of made a plan, got her house on the market while she was pregnant. And when she's like 6 weeks postpartum, we're out.
Yep.
And so the timing of everything kind of just worked out. And,
that's great.
And we moved here when our 3rd child was 6 weeks old.
That's awesome.
And it's been great.
It's an amazing place to raise a family. My wife and I moved here when she was 7 months pregnant in 2019. So just before you guys, and in search of a better place to raise a family and a little safer, and it's checked all the boxes, man. It's been an incredible place to live and to rebuild a business, because I've had to kind of, start over from scratch too. I still do a lot of business in Southern California, but rebuilding here like you, and we'll kind of get into that, is a whole new process. So are you from the Bay Area originally? You grew up, born and raised there?
Born and raised. Yeah. Okay. So it's one of those things where I never thought I would leave, and then having kids, it sort of makes you rethink what's important. Yeah. And, and I always say like Idaho is kind of like growing up in the 90s in California. It was great. You know, you get home from school, you hop on your bike, you go ride your bike till the streetlights come on, then you head home for dinner, and that's what it was. Yep. And it just slowly kind of went away from that, and I really wanted that for our kids.
Yeah. I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. And kids have adapted well and are enjoying.
They love it. They don't know how good their life is, which is perfect. Like we took them to visit some family in Portland.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of questions about, people's tents on the side of the road. Like, why are they camping there? Because they've never seen that.
Right.
Why would they? They were at the time 10 and under.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my gosh, they haven't seen a homeless person. Yeah. So like, I kind of forgot. Like that was part of, growing up in the Bay Area, you just knew that. Yeah. And then here, my oldest was, let's see, he was like 6 or 7 when we moved. Yeah. So like he barely remembers there, and it's been a great place. For sure.
Let's chat a little bit about Keyrenter Boise. So that's the name of your company. You've got a business partner. Yep. I'd love to understand how you guys met and how Keyrenter Boise came to existence, and kind of what's your path been? How long you guys been around? What's your growth been like? Kind of, let's start to dive into the company.
Yeah. So we kind of met by chance, actually. We were it was in a birthing class in California.
No kidding.
And I came back after my son, when my first was born. He was like 3 or 4 months old, and the teacher of the class was like, hey, we'd love to get a perspective from the dad side of, how these birthing techniques worked for you and how the experience was. And so I go back there to speak to the class. It was like 10 or 12 people. And my son just spits out all over my pants, like within like minutes. And then Chapin, who's my business partner, goes, "Oh, that looks really fun." And we just sort of like, that was kind of it. You know, we went to a few like events for the class like after that, and just sort of, you know, became really good friends. And this is 11 years ago.
Wow.
And, you know, as friends do, you always talk about, man, like we should do this. You know, I'll have all these big grand plans to start a business or whatever it is. And, you know, we're one of the rare people that actually kind of made that happen. He was doing property management in California. I was in the manufacturing world. And when we moved here, he kind of said at the same time that they wanted to move because owning a business in California was becoming very difficult. And when we moved here, he's like, we should do something, you know, you should join me. You can, you know, keep your other job and then I'll run the operations. You just do the business development because that's what you do. So I was kind of just doing that on the weekends, like trying to build a network of people, and then made the jump to like, hey, this is what I want to do. You know, my dad passed away like 5 or 6 years ago, and he worked for the same manufacturing company that I worked for. And when he passed, his kind of work legacy was over, you know, and it gave me sort of some different perspective on what was going to be my legacy. Like, was the day that I die going to be the last day that, you know, my kids get any part of my business? You know, it just didn't make sense to me. And so the timing of moving here and the timing of starting a business was right. It's something that I needed to push myself to do.
That's awesome.
And so that's how Keyrenter was born.
Amazing. So your business partner, what's his name again? Chapin? Chapin. So he's got a background in property management. He owned a company in Northern California. Did he exit that before coming here?
Sold it off. And he was actually just going to do some consulting here originally for property management companies because he's been doing it for 27 years. He worked for a company called Greystar, which I think they're the largest property management company in the United States, I think, or maybe the world, but they own like 800,000 units.
Wow.
And so, you know, he had the corporate deal, he had the experience. Then he started Keyrenter Silicon Valley, wanted to make it more personal and know every single owner. And that was like the model. And then, you know, when he moved here and sold that, he's like, I'm just going to do consulting and help these small businesses grow their portfolios and build a good business because I have a lot of experience in that. And he'd asked me to make some calls to property management companies to see if that was something that people would be interested in. And I called a list of property management companies here in Boise. And, you know, I report back to him and I was like, hey, I got some bad news. He's like, what? I'm like, nobody picks up the phone. Like, he's like, that's kind of what I thought. I think that we need to start this and you're going to be a part of it. And I was like, all right, what do you mean? He's like, you're going to grow the business. I'm going to run the ops and let's do this. And so that was it.
That's amazing. And so how long has it been since you started the business?
So it's been almost 4 years. So
4 years.
Yeah. So it's been 4 years, and we started with zero in September of 22. July of 22.
Okay.
And then we got our first property in September.
Wow.
And then actually our first 3 clients were all named Jared. So we're like, oh, we're Jared's property management company. Like very specific, very niche. You know? And yeah, we just, you know, we kind of did the traditional method for the first 4 or 5 months, just trying to grow the business. And, you know, I was like, man, this is taking a long time. You know, we're sending people agreements and people didn't like it. And, you know, I just took a look at the agreement and kind of just was like, man, it's so wordy. You know, like I'd been buying and selling real estate since my early 20s. And it's like, this is way overcomplicated. It doesn't need to be like this, you know, but this is maybe how it had to be in California because there's so many regulations and like all this stuff. But I think people here are just looking for like good, honest people. And that's what we need to portray. So we kind of made a change there January 23. And then it just sort of grew from there. You know,
Amazing.
We're at almost 500.
No kidding.
Properties now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we talked about this early on when we first met. So we met through mutual clients, both on the real estate agent side, the realtor side, and also the client that owns the rental properties. We met through both of those avenues. And I think early on we talked about what your goals were, but tell me you're close to 500 doors right now. What are you guys looking to get to? What's the goal for the business?
You know, I had a number in mind originally. We made this joke that it was 2,366.
Oh, okay.
And that was just this number that we were like, okay, this will meet our target revenue that we want to get to. And it sort of changed because I really just want to have a strong, healthy business. And the number isn't really my focus anymore.
I love that.
It's just like, we're at the point now to where we've built this network where 90% of our clients that we're adding are referral based from existing clients
Yeah.
or people that we know. And they're aligned with us perfectly. Their mindset, their personality, their goals, like everything is aligned.
Yep.
So it makes it like almost easy.
Yeah.
And it makes it fun because we're all on the same page. There's no like, oh, hey, you're charging me $3 for a battery. That battery is $1.75 on Amazon. It's like, well, yeah, we got to get it here, go to Home Depot and get it. You know,
Right.
like the questions like that come up very often.
Yep.
But the people that we're adding are on the same page as us, and they know that we're not trying to nickel and dime them.
Yep.
They understand the overall picture that we're trying to help them grow their portfolio and make them as much money as possible.
Yeah, that's great. It's, you know, we run our business in the very same way. It's why we've really connected well and hit it off over the past couple of years. But, you know, so many businesses are like, what are your KPIs, you know, on the loan side? How many calls are you making? How many agent meetings are you getting? And it's like, man, when you just show up and you do the right thing for people and you be a connector, I know you're really well networked. You connect people who need help. You're always looking, hey, how can I help here? How can I connect you here? When you just do that, the numbers all work out. The revenue works out. The profit works out. The clientele works out. I don't really like the micromanaging. How many calls are you making? How many meetings did you have? Sure. It's like, man, it drives me nuts. So I love that philosophy. I love that you guys are just focused on doing the right thing by people, helping them grow their portfolio, and the rest works itself out over time.
Right. And just like you said, with the referral network, it's like when we first were starting, we're like, hey, you know, we'll give you a referral fee. Like we're trying to there was an incentivize, like a monetary, you know, thing going on. And what we found is like, we kind of weren't meeting the right network. People were referring us because they wanted to get the $200 and it wasn't, and that was it. Right. There wasn't really a real relationship. And then we started kind of growing to these other, you know, real estate companies and meeting with the right people that just wanted to refer us because they wanted their client to be taken care of.
Yep.
And same thing with you, right? You and I have referred business back and forth and never asked for anything in return. We just know, I know when I refer somebody to you that they're going to be stoked. I mean, I referred you my best friend from high school and he calls me. He's like, dude, you didn't tell me he was all, you know, I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like that's what I want. That's what, you know, that's the rewarding part about networking, not like, oh, hey, Matt, where's my $100 referral fee?
Yes, exactly.
I don't care about that. Like I want my network to be taken care of by whoever I refer.
Yeah.
And that's how we are right now. You know, our referral network is like nobody's asking for anything. They just know that I'm going to refer to them. They're going to refer to me and everybody's happy. And like our little like pack is solid. I can refer to all those people and I know that's going to work out great.
Yeah. And most importantly, like when and you just kind of mentioned it about me, but same with you. Like when I refer Keyrenter Boise or I say, hey, call Kyle. Yeah. Like I know that you're going to reflect so well on me. It's actually going to help solidify my relationship with the person that I just helped connect you to. Totally. So that's like at the end of the day, it's like, hey man, I just want my people to be taken care of. I want you to reflect well. And I know that that's going to happen. There's a lot of trust in that. Yeah. And that's just because of who you are and how you show up. You've done a really great job of building that reputation. Thank you. And I think that, you know, once you have that reputation and you protect that, the business just snowballs. Right. It's like, holy cow, things are referrals are coming in from everywhere. Yeah. And it just speaks to it. It's a testament of who you are and how you show up in the world. So nice work there.
I appreciate that. It's, you know, the brand of like is very important to keep the name positive. And I want, you know, and I'm sure, you know, property management doesn't have like the sexiest name in the real estate industry. We're like the used car salesman as far as like it mindset. You know, like that's how people like had experiences with like being feed to death, right? It's like, oh, like we get all the time, like, oh, so-and-so charges 6%. I was like, well, did you like look at the agreement? Because there's a lot more other startup fees and marketing and this and that. The next thing you know, I'm like, you're paying like 14% by the end of the year, you know? Yeah,
this is actually really good segue into like your business model, how you guys operate, maybe how you're different than a lot of other property management companies. Yeah. How do you charge? Kind of, you know, go through a couple of those items if you could.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you know, why we've been successful in growth is that we're not real estate agents. So we stay in our lane and we focus 100% on property management.
Love that.
So if you're a realtor looking for a partner in property management, you know, I come from a sales background where like a sales tracking software, a CRM is super important. And so if you refer me a business, that client will be linked to your name forever. And if they want to buy a property 3, 5, 10 years down the road, I'm going to be like, oh, this was referred to you by Matt. You know, I'm going to give it back to that person. Yep. And that's how we do it. And then as far as our, you know, fees, we do 9% management fee, and then we do a lease fee. But the lease fee only applies if we get an applicant in 21 days.
Got it.
So if I don't get you an applicant within 21 days, you don't pay it.
So you're incentivized to get somebody in the house quicker for the client. Yeah. They're happy because they got someone in without having a month or two go by without a tenant in the house.
Yeah, because vacancy is really your profit killer. Yep. People worry about like the management fee. It's like, well, a percentage is only about $25.
Right.
Like that's not going to be the issue.
Yeah.
It's when you start being vacant for 30 days. If your place is $2,100 a month, that's like $70 a day.
Yep. It adds up quick.
It adds up really quick.
Yeah. So 9% flat fee.
Yep.
You only have the lease fee if you get somebody in within 21 days. Yep. Are you guys handling everything? Are you sending reports on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis? Are you sending tax forms at the end of the year for the CPA? Like, yep. What kind of stuff are you doing on the back end?
Everything. So really? When your property is being leased, we send out weekly reports of how many showings, how many people clicked on it, all that data, and then we kind of send a market analysis like, hey, why isn't this rented yet, right? In peak season, we should be getting 5 to 10 leads a day. So like somebody clicked on it, scrolled through some photos, our team reaches out immediately. If we're not in that number, we're not priced correctly. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, can you get this? It's like, well, potentially, but here's what the market says. As much as I like to say we control the market, we don't. Right. The market decides the market.
Yep. Supply and demand, baby.
Yeah, supply and demand, right? So yeah. So we send out the tax forms at the end of the year. We can do we run an analysis showing what your kind of like P&Ls were for the year, right? If your property is an older home, pre 2005, and there's a lot of maintenance, we can look at that and say like, hey, look, you actually spent about 20% of your total rent this year on maintenance costs.
Got it.
It might be time to look at maybe 1031ing into something new, and that's why like our network that we have is so great because everybody's aligned. We really just want to make sure that the client is taken care of. I don't care, I'll manage an old property for them.
Sure.
But if they're losing money, I don't want that for them.
Yeah.
Like let's look at something else. You might be able to get into something newer with zero maintenance and increase, your revenue by 20% even on a newer house.
Yeah.
So we try to do everything, one-stop shop. They can call us. I constantly have people asking me like, hey, what should I be buying? We have a solid portfolio now where our comps are solid. Like we had somebody drive around and take photos of every property, and the furthest distance he had to drive between each property was 6 minutes.
That's awesome.
In Treasure Valley.
Yeah.
So like we have solid comps
That's
for almost
great.
every neighborhood,
Yeah. It's really cool because I know that we come across a lot of investors that are looking to purchase and they need that data to be able to make a decision on whether or not the purchase makes sense. I'm able to call you and say, hey, Kyle, what do you think about the rent on this property?
Yep.
And you're able to give me really accurate information with the data that you guys have access to. So that's huge too.
Yeah. And my business partner is like the metrics king.
Yeah.
He loves, like we have performance metrics on everything.
Really?
We can break it down by Eagle, Boise, Meridian, 3-bed, 2-bath, like in our portfolio, and tell you exactly what the average rent is.
That's incredible.
And even on, maintenance side. Okay,
yep.
What is your house, from 2020 to 2025, what's our average spend on maintenance a year? Wow. 2015 to 2020, we've broken it down so deep to where somebody's like, hey, here are my concerns. Here's what my goal is. And we can break it down by location, age, and everything.
That's incredible.
What's going to make the most sense.
That's awesome. Let's talk about maintenance a little bit, because that's a big area where I think some property management companies get a bad rap is like, hey, if I call you or the tenant calls you, let's say, and they need something repaired, and now you're going in and, it costs $100, but you're charging $300 or something like that. You're marking it all up. How do you guys work with maintenance? Is there an allowance that the landlord sets that's like auto, hey, you can spend this no matter what, and then anything above this, you need my approval? Kind of chat through maintenance side of things. That's a big deal in property management.
Yeah, because I know that people can, maintenance can add up real quick, right? So it goes back to like kind of core is that we want to be transparent. So we do a $500 maintenance reserve, because realistically, the point of hiring a property manager is so you can kind of sit back and relax and you don't have to worry about it. Yes. It's why people have like a stockbroker or somebody like that, is that because they don't want to sit there day to day and watch the ticker go, like, oh, let's buy it, sell. Like they don't do that.
Yep.
That's what we do, right? So up to $500, we can repair things. We have two of our own in-house handymen that can make most of the repairs.
Awesome.
Obviously, if there's like a plumbing issue or an electrical issue, where licensed, bonded, insured, because you don't want to mess with that. Liability is huge. So anything over $500, we're going to make a call to the owner and say like, hey, the water heater went out. We can get some bids because we have relationships with a lot of good vendors, and we get preferred pricing because we do a lot of carpets, we do a lot of water heaters,
Yep.
So we'd actually, even though it's through us, it's still going to be a better deal most likely.
Yep.
But we still have the conversation like, hey, sometimes like we had one a couple weeks ago where the owner's brother-in-law actually was like a water heater guy.
Oh, nice.
And so his water heater went out. I called him. I was like, hey, we got a bid for you. It's, 1900 and some change. Do you want us to pursue that bid? He's like, actually, my brother-in-law does the water heaters. Can we send him? I'm like, yeah, as long as he's licensed and bonded, I'm no problem doing that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we just send him and he pays them and it's done.
Perfect.
Really the critical thing is the communication between us and the tenants and to make sure that it's done in a timely manner, right? Because that's the biggest thing.
Are you marking that up if you work with your vendors, or are you just giving it to cost to the owner? I don't know how that works. So just curious.
So anything under $500, it's just a pass through.
Got it.
Anything over, it's 10%.
Got it.
But at the same time, we're transparent. So if somebody's unhappy with that, then they want to use their own person, no problem.
Yeah, and it's not unreasonable to charge. I mean, you guys are taking time to coordinate this.
Yeah,
to
and we
find
go
the
there
right
and
vendors.
we go and verify that the work is done properly. So like we're actually going to go to the property and see that, the carpet was done or the water heater was done correctly and make sure. So there is some follow-up and things like that.
Yeah, and because of your relationships with the vendors, you're probably getting a discounted price anyways, like you alluded to with all the business that you're doing. So even with your 10%, it's probably unlikely that the owner's going to go find something that much cheaper, 100%. And it's worth it not for them to have to deal with any of it.
That's exactly right.
Makes sense. Got it. Tell me a little bit. So you mentioned that your business partner had a property management in Southern California called Keyrenter, or Northern California, excuse me. Yeah. I'd imagine when he sold that, there was a non-compete. How did he go about getting the same name? I know it's a different marketplace, but there was no issue with the same name in the Boise market.
Yeah. So Keyrenter is actually a franchise.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he has a really good relationship with the CEO. And it's a smaller company. There's 50 or so in the nation.
Yep.
And so it wasn't an issue.
That's amazing.
And he was like, I think the third or fourth key renter and personal friends with the CEO.
Got it.
So they had Boise kind of reserved because they knew this market was growing.
Yep.
And then when Chapin was like, hey, we want to go, he's like, yours.
Done. Yeah.
Done.
You've already proven yourself in a difficult market. And it's got to be good too, honestly, because we have a lot of people moving from the Bay Area here with a lot of money, buying a lot of investment property. I'm sure that you have some clients that recognize the brand from the Bay Area to here now. And they're like, hey, I already trusted you guys here. Let's work together here.
Totally. We've had a lot of crossover. And, I think that, there's no secret. There's a lot of people here moved from California, right? It's just whether it was Northern or Southern, right. And so having that kind of background from California, we can relate a lot of areas here to where we are from.
Yep.
So if I see somebody calling with like a 4A area code from San Jose, I'm like, okay, they're probably going to want to be in Eagle near the foothills. It feels familiar because moving out of state can be terrifying, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's a big move. And if you can kind of relate an area specific to Boise to where they're from,
so true.
They're like, oh yeah, this does feel, it makes it less scary.
Yes. Yep.
And having just the empathy, like one thing that I noticed when we started the company is that every property management company's reviews, there were great reviews from the owners and terrible reviews from the tenants.
Oh yes. Yep.
And in my head, and maybe it's like a personal issue with not being, I hate being disliked. So I'm like, I need to please like everybody, like, and my business partner's like, hey, this is going to be a little reality check because you can't please everybody. I'm like, we'll see, but like, so I wanted to focus a lot on the tenant experience too. And that's why we actually always say residents instead of tenants, because like they're staying with us. Like this is like,
I like that.
More like a concierge feeling than like oh, you're just like our tenant.
Yep.
And so I focus a lot on that tenant, the residence experience, because people just like push them to the wayside. Like, oh, they're just renting, and that's the wrong mindset. These are people with families and friends. And if you treat them with respect, they're going to respect the property more.
It's so true, man.
So I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Like I still to this day, do showings every week. Yeah. And people are like, oh, who are you? I'm like, oh, I'm the owner. They're like, huh? Like they're like shocked.
What are you doing?
Like, what are you doing here? I'm like, well, you're going to be staying at one of our places. Like, I want to know you. I want you to know me, and we're here for you, and we're available, and that's the biggest thing. People have a lot of worries about their property being thrashed by somebody staying there, you know? But a lot of that has to do with the lack of communication between the property management company and the residents. So if we make it really easy, they can send us a text, which they can. They can send us an email, which they can. They can call. We have 24-hour response.
Yep.
They're not going to be afraid to report something to us, And so just making us available and knowing that like I'm not above them and that they can't reach out to me after they've moved in.
That's huge.
That's been the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like I have, residents calling me from 2 years ago, like, "Hey, you probably don't remember me, but I'm renting this house in Meridian." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember it. How, you have two kids and you have this." They're like, "How do you remember that?" I'm like, "I forget things day to day, but like I can remember." I remember like this one random house in Meridian, and because you had a personal connection.
Yeah.
The relationships that we have. And why our business has been successful, it's not fake, it's real.
Yeah.
I'm a relationship person,
Totally.
and and that's what it is, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So we've really focused on that, and my team has also really focused on that client experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I know you work with some of the best agents in the Treasure Valley, and if they have enough trust to send you their clientele, you're doing something right. I mean,
Yes.
it speaks volumes.
I appreciate that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the market. Like, what are you seeing in the market? Different areas of the Treasure Valley. What are you seeing? We've had some really cool product come online here in the last few years with the ability to do ADUs, accessory dwelling units, in Boise and other areas close. What's going on close to the university? What's going on in different, pockets of the valley? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. When we first started, Star, everybody's like way out in Star. That was kind of the mindset, right? And way out in Nampa, but ever since, the plan to connect 16, right, all the way north, south to the 84, people's mindsets, especially the investors, because they're thinking long-term, right? So they're not like, oh, I don't need to sell this property in 2 years. What's the value going to be? They're like, oh, what's this going to be in 10 years when 16 connects and you can actually get to the airport from Nampa in 25 minutes.
Yep.
That's going to make a huge difference. So those west areas, Star, Nampa, Caldwell have gone up significantly.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like the rent is like skyrocketed by any means, but the quickness to rent, because more people were like, hey, in a year and a half, this is going to be a really convenient path.
So days on market
is
less.
Yep. Whereas they were kind of the ones that were harder to rent originally.
Got it.
Eagle has always been a solid market, because I think it's because it feels familiar going back to like people from California, it's in the foothills.
Yep.
It doesn't feel flat, so it feels familiar. And that's kind of where a lot of the transplants end up,
Do you see a lot of turnover in Eagle though? Like 6 to 12 month leases, because a lot of those people are coming with good money and good jobs, and they're probably going to buy something and not be long-term renters. So how does that, like, do you see higher turnover in the Eagle area, even though rents might be a little bit higher, or is that not necessarily true?
I would say on some of the higher echelon rentals, things that are $5,000 or more a month, which has been a huge market for us, because they're planning on building a home already.
Exactly.
But you kind of go into it knowing that, and there's always going to be somebody that's doing that.
Got it.
Our average renewal rate was like 84%. For last year.
Okay.
Which is really great.
Yeah, it's high.
And it goes client experience, right? Making sure that they're taken care of, they want to stay. I would say that the areas have been pretty consistent with the people staying. A lot of the houses are new, and so and with the interest rates being higher, a lot of these people who had planned to buy are like, man, that family, that entry level home, the mortgage is over $3,000, or I could rent that same exact home for $2,200. They're sort of like waiting, right? So we've had more people with 800 credit scores than I've ever seen, in the past year, because they're qualified, ready to buy, and then the interest rates went up, and so they're deciding to wait.
They just hit pause, so they're renewing for one more year. Let's see how things play out, and then maybe we'll move. Got it. Okay. And what about down by like the university? I know that tends to be a very popular place for people to buy rentals, renting out to the university students and stuff like that. Are you seeing high demand over there still?
It's starting right now.
It is.
So you pretty much have a lull from, I would say, September to end of January, to where if you're planning on buying a rental in downtown and, thinking that you're going to get $750 to $1,000 a room, you're probably it's not going to happen. Because there aren't colleges moving. There is a semester that starts winter, but people are usually already set in where they're going to live. But now, starting this month, the call for college housing has been through the roof.
Really? Yes. And that's getting ready for next
fall?
Ready,
yes. So people are like, hey, I'm moving in May, or I'm moving in June.
Yes.
And people want to plan ahead and do that. So that's been kind of the market recently. And like we have we have a townhouse community that we're managing it's 20 units.
Okay.
And they're all 4-bed, 4-bath.
Oh, wow.
And that just got finished about a week ago. And there's 5 units available now, and every 3 to 4 weeks from now is going to be 5 more added. And we are getting calls left and right for college housing for like May, June, July.
So is it one townhome with 4 bedrooms?
Yep.
And then there's 5 of those available right now, with 5 more coming on the market.
And then and there's 20 total.
Are those individually owned, or some investors have bought more than one?
One investor owns all of them.
One investor owns. And he's holding all of them?
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, and it's only it's actually in Garden City.
Got it.
Which people are like, oh, Garden City, like another, like kind of one of those way out there areas. It's 8 minutes from the college.
Yeah, and it's actually, they're doing a lot in that city.
And you know, it's 100 yards from the Greenbelt.
Yep.
You know, so like, and I think that, you know, for that area, it's interesting too, right? Is because you have this brand new town community, then you have a mobile home park, then you have like a rock quarry.
And then you've got a winery.
You have a
brewery.
Yeah, 100%. So it's like long-term investment. But this guy obviously saw that. He's like, I'm the first one doing this here.
Did he develop it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Bought the land and then started from the ground up.
Oh, that's awesome. So you bring up an interesting point. That's a lot of units. It would still be considered residential. Are you guys strictly residential property management, 1 to 4 units?
Yeah. So we do, we'll do multifamily.
Okay.
You know, it is a little bit different model, and it depends, you know, you can go up to 48 units without an audit site manager.
Okay.
In Boise. But our focus is really single family.
Yeah.
We have some in our portfolio from existing clients that we're looking to get multifamily. But the single family is really kind of what we're set up for.
Yep.
You know, single family, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. We have a couple of 10 units. That's kind of where our niche is.
Yeah, got it. What are you doing for growth from here on out? I mean, I know it starts to snowball like we talked about. Sure. It's relationship building. Yep. Is there anything specific that you guys are focused on, new agent relationships, or what's kind of your model going forward?
Yeah, I mean, the agent relationships are kind of the best ones, I think. You know, they understand that they're keeping their client happy for years to come. For that client to come back to them is them setting up a positive experience for the future, right? Yeah. So if they refer them to me and their client is super happy, and we've showed them how their investment is making them money, then they're gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this again. I'll do this again. So if we can align with that of that agent, their client will be back to them over and over to do it again. Yeah. So and it's just, you know, we do SEO as well, just, you know, Google and stuff like that. But I find the relationships are coming from people in our network.
Yeah. Those are the long-lasting ones too. You know, the people that are going to stick around.
Yep.
Do you guys do short-term rental management, like Airbnbs type stuff?
No, we don't do Airbnbs. We do some furnished rentals, like through like Furnish Finder and things like that. Mm-hmm. And we work with a couple of insurance companies that pretty much take every single one. Whenever I have a furnished rental, I send it to this company, and then they are placing people who have been displaced by fire, flood, or anything like that.
Interesting.
And then, you know, we'll do short-term rentals in the wintertime to kind of get us into peak season.
Yep.
Because like the goal would be to have every rental start their lease May 1st.
Yeah.
You know, which is not the reality.
Not December 1st.
Yeah. So, you know, we tend to be a little bit more flexible in the winter. Like, hey, I know we don't want short term, but if we can get 4 months here,
a travel nurse
or
makes
whatever,
great money. They're going to be a good tenant, and they're going to be out. Now you're listing again in the spring.
Now we're at peak season, and we'll just stay there forever. We'll just do 1-year leases moving forward, and you're set.
Yeah, I love that.
It is so seasonal with rentals here, except for this year, because, you know, winter never came.
It's been warm.
Yeah. So like our average time on market through winter was still 14 days.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So usually, other than this year, you know, we're pretty much, so May to July, our average time market was 5 days.
Jeez.
Which is, I mean, just wild, right? And then it kind of every month would add about 2 days. And then by Thanksgiving, you're getting into that 25 to 30 day. Yeah. You know, which, because, you know, the snow, all that stuff.
Yeah, people are spending time with family. They're not looking to move.
Yeah. This year, you know, everybody was like, "Oh, winter's coming," because it always has. Yeah. You know, like, I think it's like $18.99. Yeah. It's, like it's always come like you know, more than this, and so people were kind of waiting. And then when we hit Thanksgiving and it was still 55 degrees. Yeah. After Thanksgiving, we had this rush in December.
Really?
You know, just people were like, "Oh my gosh, there's no rain in the forecast. There's no snow in the forecast. We can do this." Yep. And so December was a mad rush before Christmas. Yep. And then the same thing in January, we had 17 move-ins.
That's incredible.
Like, you know, so our yearly average is 14 days for the whole year.
I mean, that tells me that we're short on rental inventory. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%.
Like we have more renters than we do properties available.
100%.
Wow.
We added 35 new properties in January.
Jeez.
And they're going to be gone in a month.
I think you mentioned this earlier in the conversation, but what's the average vacancy rate right now across the portfolio?
So it's 80. It's only 12% vacancy.
Okay.
But the only reason why is because we're adding so many properties.
Right.
If you broke it down, like if we stopped today adding any new properties, and you reached out to me a month from now and asked me what a vacancy would be, it'd probably be 2%.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah,
awesome. A few more questions. Like, market wise, do you guys go out of the Treasure Valley at all? Do you do any rentals in McCall, Cascade, anything down in like the Twin Falls area, or is it just Treasure Valley?
Just Treasure Valley right now. We want to really get this dialed in and make sure that it's perfect before we expand anywhere else.
Yeah.
We definitely could grow, and we've had opportunities to grow to like mountain home areas like that. Yeah. But what I tell owners is like, hey, if I can't do it like really, really well, I just would rather not. Yeah. If somebody came to me with 25 properties in mountain home, I'll find a handyman out there that could service those.
Sure.
But the onesie twosie, I just don't have anybody that can do that.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just say like, hey, we're not ready for it yet.
Man, there's something in that, Kyle, like being able to say, hey, I'm not the right fit for you right now is powerful. And there's not a lot of people, like there's so many people that are kind of desperate for every last door or every last deal or every last loan on my side, right? That they attempt to serve people when maybe it's not the best for the client.
Totally.
And then either the experience is bad or it's just kind of like it just doesn't work out the way that you'd hoped.
Yep.
I love it when you're able to say, hey, I'm not the fit for you. If we ever are in the future, I'll reach out. But hey, this is who you should be talking to.
Right.
And you're referring it to another property management company.
Totally.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we have and I think that's the property management like world here, through NARPM, which is like the National Association of Property Managers. People don't seem to be like, aren't too afraid of like that there's competition, because competition is healthy. It keeps people honest, and people are willing to share. I know a lot of property managers personally, and we like kind of like share war stories, and it's like, it's part of it. Yeah. And competition is healthy. Yep. And you have to realize, and this was hard for me, like we talked about being like people pleasers. I'm not going to be for everybody.
Right. And there's plenty of business out there for everyone.
There's plenty of business.
I don't expect to connect and be the right fit for every last client. And there's plenty of business for all of us. Like it really is
100%
abundance mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. If you had to leave one message to the real estate agents watching this throughout the Valley, what would your message be to them? And then if you had to leave one message to, property owners who might be thinking about, maybe they self-manage right now and they're thinking about hiring a property management company, is there anything you'd leave for those two audiences?
Yeah. I mean, as far as real estate agents go, the relationship is really important to me. And last year we referred back 26 sales to agents, and there was 13 different agents.
That's amazing.
Who gave me referrals. And then when their client was ready to buy something else, I called and said, hey, they're ready to buy something else. And here's how their property is performing. I think that maybe they should look at something else. And we really do that. Like, I'm here for the long term. My goal with this company was to build a legacy to hand down, and for my business partner too, to our children, and that they could like go to their friends and be like, my dad's run this awesome property management company. We're going to work for that. Like that the legacy was what I wanted to build. And so I'm not going to screw this up. Yeah. I'm going to do everything in my power to make this the best experience forever. So that way my kids can help their kids and their kids, like, and just keep on going.
Love it.
And that's why you should work with me, is I'm going to make this a generational thing for my kids and their kids too.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, that's been my experience working with you. So clearly you're doing something right there. How about on the, owner side?
Yeah.
Own a property, self-manage it right now, have gone back and forth about hiring a property management company, but a lot of people think they can do it themselves. Any message to those people?
I always say, like, you got to have some thick skin for the industry. But it's one of those things where have a conversation with me and we can see if it works. And I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm not the right fit. We can look at all the things, like, what are you spending on maintenance? How much time are you spending? Right. What do you value? Is your time, if you're spending 20 hours a week managing your property, yes, you're not paying me $220 a month, but like, what is your time worth to you? Are you retired? Are you trying to travel, or do you have a W-2 job and you're trying to do both?
Yep.
What do you, is your time worth it?
Yeah. And are you out of state?
You're out of
are
state?
You local?
Yeah,
right?
do you have somebody you can trust? Like, I had somebody yesterday like, hey, can you go check on? I'm like, yeah, I'll just go there.
Yep.
Like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, you trusted me with your property. I'm gonna make this the best experience for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not too important. I'm never like I'm busy, but I'm never too busy to talk to anybody. You know, and let's just have a conversation about it and see if we can make it work.
I love it. Well, I think it's going to be a good year for all of us in the real estate industry, specifically on rental properties. You know, there's with the tax cut bill that came back last year, there are some huge incentives potentially from the tax side of things for high income earners to be buying rental properties. Yep. Boise continues to be a strong market for rentals and investment. I think we're going to continue to see a lot of money flow into the Treasure Valley from, you know, people who have the assets and are looking to buy real estate for cash flow.
Yeah.
So, you know, with those tax incentives back, because they had gone away for a little while,
right,
I think we're going to continue to see strong rental purchases here in the Valley.
It's, you know, there's always like, oh, next year is going to be the year where everything tanks. It's been the conversation for a long time.
Yep.
And
keep trucking along.
January was our busiest month we've ever had.
Yeah. February is our busiest month since COVID.
Yeah.
So
it's like, it's still strong.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a market.
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I know I've enjoyed being a friend and business, you know, referral partner over the last probably 2 or 3 years at this point. Absolutely. And grateful for all you do for the people that we send your way. And thanks for spending some time with us today. It's great to have you in.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.